I grew up in a Christian home with a Christian faith tradition, and I remember at a very young age having butterflies, thinking about the relationship I could have with God. I wanted to have a relationship. I didn't want to have just a cold, rote religion. I wanted it to be personal and spiritual, and I followed after that. As a teenager, though, I became really blindsided. Mostly, I was blindsided by being sexually active as a teenager, because it was the great heartache of my life. You know, here was a Christian faith that said how critical monogamy was, and yet I couldn't do that. And I felt lonely, probably for about 10 years. But then I was driving down the highway. I was about 26 years old. I had been married for 5 years, and it's so foreign to me now, but my husband didn't know that I had been sexually active before. And I thought about it every day, and I was lonely every day. Then I was driving down the highway and I was listening to a radio program, and I heard this question: what is the #1 question on a teenage girl's mind when she's talking to her mom about sex? And without hesitation, a woman answered, the #1 question on that girl's mind is, Mom, did you wait? And in God's great sovereignty, my 6-month-old baby girl was in the back seat of that minivan. And suddenly I realized that the healing I wasn't courageous enough to do for me, I was gonna do for her. And I pulled to the side of the road and I allowed 10 years of grief that I didn't even understand to engulf me. My question in my heart was, is my Christian faith, I believe that there was a price paid for everything I've done wrong in my life. And for the first time in 5 years, I confessed to my husband the secret that he didn't know, expecting rejection. Instead, he wrapped his arms around me. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt what I believe is not just his forgiveness, but God's. I felt it. And for the first time in 10 years, when he said, honey, I forgive you, I have never seen you act in anything other than a pure state of mind, I heard God's forgiveness. Because in confessing to him and then my mother and my best friend, I began to feel such freedom. It was the greatest igniting of passion in my spiritual life that I have ever known, and I believe probably that I will ever know.